Welcome to Tackle Fanatics TV, and in this episode of TFTV, Joe Morgan and Jason Hayward run you through some useful hints and tips on hook sharpening and show you the complete JAG sharpening range.
Right, there's no doubt about it, the biggest edge in carp fishing is having a sharp hook. Now straight out of the pack, hooks are sharp, but they can be far, far sharper. We're here with Jason Hayward, who's been sharpening hooks for 30 years now. Big difference for you, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes a massive difference, Joe. Absolutely massive difference. People say, you know, they buy a packet of hooks and they buy 10 hooks and 6 are sharp and 4 and they throw them away, etc. Well, when I buy a packet of hooks, any hook, it doesn't matter what they are, I don't care how sharp they are to begin with, because I'm going to make them far sharper than they will be originally. And that's all hooks across the brands. There's no discrimination here that, you know, you can make a hook far sharper than it already is.
So whatever hook you're happy with can be done with.
Yeah, I mean, this is my pattern of choice, the Drennan Conti. It's good, it's reliable, and it sharpens up incredibly well, and it's very strong. It just ticks all the boxes for me.
Cool.
Right, what we've basically got with this hook is the wire, just to show you a big diagram here, is round like that, okay? And what we're going to do is, we're going to take this side off, we're going to take this side off, which is the two sides of the hook, and then we're going to take the top off, just to sharpen it down.
Okay, so this is the side with the barb on.
Yeah, exactly. You don't touch the inside of the hook, you don't touch it, okay? Now, the tools we're going to use, the JAG tools, they've all been specifically made for the job. They're not tools that we've bought off the shelf or anything like that. These are tools that we've designed specifically to sharpen carp hooks, basically, okay? Now, this is the vise. A lot of people have said it's just a vise, it's no different, etc. It is, it's massively different. You've got a really big flat edge here, which when I come around to showing you, makes a massive difference. Depending on the size of the hook, place your hook, tighten it up nicely, it won't damage it, about that high. Okay. Now, this is the file we use. It's been made for us by a world-leading Swiss tool manufacturer. It's got the cut is unique to ours as well. We've had the cut made to us, and we've had it made with this soft rounded edges, because most files that you buy have a cutting edge on the side. So if you are using a file with a cutting edge, when you'd be rubbing it along here, you'd be rubbing along, you know, you'd be taking chunks out of your vise, like, you know.
Right.
So basically, to achieve what we want to achieve, we're going to take this. This is your first edge, okay? Now this is on the side, so we're holding it very steady in our hand. We don't move the vise, we only move the file. Now this file, it only cuts in a forward direction, okay? So if you're doing this, you're cutting, you're sharpening, blunting, sharpening, blunting. So only cut forward, it only cuts on the forward stroke, okay?
Right.
Now, we want to be cutting from the barb up to the point. There's no point at all in removing any more metal from below the barb, because that's, once it's past the barb, it's in, etc, etc. So you just want to be doing it from the barb upwards. So we place this rounded edge of the file onto the vise, and from the barb upwards, we just use this motion. It only takes off a tiny, tiny bit of metal.
You put much pressure on it?
No, not really, mate. You let the file do the work. Now, depending on the type of hook, the brand of the hook, etc., that defines how many strokes you do. Do about half a dozen like that. We've now taken this edge off here, okay? So what was round has now got a flat edge on it, okay? So now we're going to do the other side. Now, you don't want to be working that way. Now, naturally, you want to do it that way, but you're working against the point,
right.
Okay? So you're actually going to be blunting it, okay? So what we do is we'll hold the vise upright like that, okay? Again, putting this rounded edge onto the vise, using it as our guideline, and we look down, okay? And just look down along the point. Just check it. If you need to use the eyeglass, you can just check to see what you're doing. Because you're removing the coating, you can see it's actually showing you where you're filing away, okay? So I'm looking down there, again about half a dozen, You can see the tiny amount of metal I'm taking off there, just the coating. Okay, so now we've taken off this side as well, okay? So now we're going to do this side and we're going to actually take the top off, okay? So again, from about the barb going down forward, this is a beat point, okay? So just have to follow that, keeping the file nice and flat. Keep checking it. Check it on your finger. Just a little bit more at the top there. Basically, we started off with a round and it's gone to a square, okay? Now, these edges here, we just want to clip them off at sort of 45 degrees, okay? So basically, you just hold it, again, using the file exactly the same way. Just take them, it just takes it back down and just refines it. Okay, now already you can see that's far, far sharper.
Huge difference.
Huge difference as well. Now you can also take that a step further. With the stones, you've got the red one that's medium and these ones are fine. These are a cutting stone. So they don't take off anywhere near as much metal as these, but you can just take it that tiny bit further down. So again, using these in exactly the same way, the finish you get if you use these is far superior as well. It's just
polishing it off.
Exactly. It's like using a file and then using a little bit of sandpaper just to take it down, smooth it. Obviously, this is a file. It's made of high-speed steel. You have to look after it. It comes supplied in a tube, but look after it. Keep it in the tube. It's not a problem. These are, because they're stones, they're very brittle. I could snap them in my hands. Okay. So when we designed the vise, we designed it with that in mind, that you can pop them inside.
That's a good idea.
Exactly. You might as well make use of it. Okay. It's something you need to practice, just like you practice tying rigs. Just like you practice casting. It's not going to come straight away. I won't lie to you. If you haven't done this sort of thing before, you probably will, muck up a load of hooks. But as you can see, the difference between what it was to start with and the difference what it is now is so much sharper. Can't have very fleshy mouths, and it only takes that tiny edge to prick the carp, and it's the difference between getting a take or not. And I know lots and lots of people that have started doing this, and suddenly they start catching more.
Getting more bites. Yeah.
It's just as simple as that. If you buy a packet of hooks and one was more, was far sharper than the other one, you'd put that one on, wouldn't you? Well, this, you're doing everything much, much sharper. The method I use and this method, it does, when you catch a fish, whether it be a tench or a carp, etc., you do find that point will have gone over, okay, snapped off or bent over, okay. It's a hook, mate. You take it out, you take it home, you throw it away. It's not something you should be worrying about. A hook, is 20, 30 pence. Do you know what I mean? But it's the difference between getting a run or not, okay.
Just quickly, I noticed obviously the coating of hooks come off there. Is that a problem at all?
Well, a lot of people do worry about it. Strangely enough, it varies from water to water. Some waters you can cast out and you bring it back in the morning and it's almost fine. Some waters you come back on and it's it's brown and it's rusted. People worry a little bit too much because it's rust, but the amount of penetration that rust has gone into overnight or 18 hours in the water is virtually nothing. You can always carry a little bit of Vaseline with me, so you can just dip it in and just touch it, and more often than not that is enough. It's going to make no difference at all, to your bait or the sharpness of the hook. It doesn't impede the hook in any way, so if you want to do that, yes, you are taking the coating off the hook, but the hook is now far superior to what it ever was before. So,
I just think we get done so many times, don't we? And they'd feel that little bit of a hook there, and it gets blown out. But with the hooks being that sharp, they don't even get the chance to sort of feel that little bit of hook there, do they? Because it just slips straight in.
And there's also the advantage that if you're using people say, oh, well, you have to use a 5-ounce lead to get a take. Well, obviously these are far sharper, so you can get away with smaller leads, you know, stuff like that. You know, it's just a massive, massive edge, you know.
Right, well, I'm off home to practice.
Yeah, mate, yeah, keep at it, mate.
You've been tuned into TFTV. Tackle Fanatics offer a massive range of JAG products at the best prices around. We also offer a huge selection of sharpening tools, including the complete JAG range. To view our selection, log on to www.tacklefanatics.co.uk. Tight lines and wet nets from everybody at TFTV.